So y'all won't see the logo on my shirt, because if y'all do, y'all be like, oh yeah. So I'm on my way to one of my jobs. Sorry if y'all hear the heat, but it is snowing out here, and it's doing a number on everybody. Okay, it's doing a number. I'll say that. To say the least, it's doing a number. Okay, got my thing right there. Got my wallet good. Yeah, I be needing my wallet now. I need my points. I needs my points. And so, yeah, it's snowing. It's kind of cold. Y'all gonna hear that little air thing, but that's all right. Y'all still be able to get what I'm trying to say to y'all. Matter of fact, oh no, because the other handset that holds the handset is over here by the vents, so you're still gonna kind of hear it. Unless I put it up. Let me see if I move if I use the air going that way. Might be a little bit better. There we go. But you're still gonna hear it because it's really, really cold, y'all. It's about 16 degrees out here, and it is not the best, but this is the Midwest, so the Midwest gets everything, okay? The rolling plains get everything, okay? So yeah, that's the first thing. The second, I just wanted to get on here to catch up with everybody and to keep up with what was going on with me in my life and dealing with my mom and everything like that, okay? What I have noticed is that my life is quite different. As much as it's different, it is the same, but it's a little different than the average person. And I won't say that, because it's really not. It's just I'm able to observe more than the average person. You know, I guess I've been gifted for that now. And because of that, I respond to things just a little bit different. A little different than the average person. But in my head, I really think that the average person will respond the way that I do. Okay? For example, okay? I'll use this example, this illustration. If I had a box of crayons and I was missing the color red and a couple of other colors, but in order for me to make the other colors, I needed the color red. Like, say for example, I wanted to make purple, but I only had yellow, green, orange, and blue, and brown. With those colors, I can get close to a shade of purple, but it probably wouldn't look so good. It'll take a lot of effort and a lot of time, but I would need that color red. Now, if I had pink, on the other hand, I'd be closer to making a purple crayon if I had pink and blue. However, in order to make pink, I need red and white. I got a white crayon, but I don't have the red to make pink, right? And so for me, my thinking is I'm going to go and find out how to get the red crayon so that I'm not going to be able, so now that I will be able to make, no, I'm going to say it how I think, okay? Because this is going to get you, like, I'm going to get that crayon because I had to explain this to my professor. I'm going to find a box of crayons that has red in it and the other colors, so I won't have to go through this situation again. I'm going to look at all the combinations that the basic colors, the primary colors and the secondary colors make, so that I can make sure I can get a box that not only has red, but it's going to have all the other colors that can go ahead and create to make other multiple colors and multiple shades of that color. That way, I won't have to worry about this situation again. That sounds usual, right? Hi there. How are you? Hi to everyone that's tuning in. So that's what I would do. You know, most people would go and find a red crayon. Buy one red crayon, or they'll buy a 5-pack that has the red in it, even if they don't need the other yellow, green, yellow, green, and blue crayons. They'll buy that 4-pack because all they need is one crayon. Well, my mind really does not work that way, okay? And so that's how I go about things. I don't go about just solving one problem, because I feel like if it's going to be one problem, then 12,000 other problems are eventually going to come. And the best bet is to be able to be prepared for multiple problems as they arise, or be better prepared for if future problems arise, instead of dealing with just the problem at hand. Because I feel like the problem at hand, it's the problem at hand because something was overlooked before. That's how I think in my mind. Now, I don't explain it all the way through, but that's how I always think. Even if things are already planned out, and I just need that one crayon just to make that one color, and tomorrow I'm going to have, you know, all the colors in the book, someone's going to give it to me. I'm not going to think that way. I'm going to think about, how do I get it myself? Okay? And so, because of that, sometimes I can stumble. Sometimes it takes me a lot longer to get things done because of how my work in progress is, how my mindset is. Okay? Doesn't mean that I'm not successful in my attempts to do things, because usually I am very much successful in it, because things really do arise in life. Things arise that we don't, problems arise that we are not even aware of, or things that usually wouldn't even come up. But because I'm kind of programmed that way, sometimes it helps me. It helps me learn from the situations that are at hand, and not only that, prepare for things so when they do come, you know, even most people, if they're not looking at it, it'll just look like it just came out of the blue. But if I'm preparing for a just in case scenario, and the just in case scenario comes, I'm more informed about it. I'm more prepared about it. Hi to everyone who's on here, who's commenting. Please forgive me if I don't comment to you right back. I am driving, and it is snowing a little bit icy. So, just tending to the road, but I'm telling y'all, you know, this is how my mind thinks, and it makes sense when I'm going to describe to you what's going on. And so, I think that way. I'm not going to think about just finding the one crayon. I'm going to think about the variations of the probability of me having to use other crayons to make multiple different colors, and find out what would be overall best for me to get. Okay. Another example of this, y'all, and I know this might sound like really funny to a lot of people, like, why would she do that? So, like, toothpaste, okay? You know how you see toothpaste and you're like, okay, I'll get, you know, one or maybe two because it's on sale. Not me. I don't think that way. I love crayons. And so I would get that toothpaste that's on sale, and I'm gonna calculate in my head or on the phone or with my scientific calculator. I don't even know why I still have a scientific calculator, but yeah, y'all. Yeah. But anywho, how much it is to have it, to buy enough for the year versus how much it is to buy for 5 years. If it's a good sale, I will buy it all up. Like, buy enough that I need for the whole year, a whole 5 years. Just last year, well, year before last, I bought toothpaste. Haven't bought toothpaste in 2 years, okay? It's almost about to be out now, but I'm sure it's going to be another sale. And I still look for other sales. But it helps me a lot to save money, because I know I'm going to constantly brush my teeth. Unless they get knocked out and I get some dentures. And guess what? I got to brush those, okay? Now I know some people like that's just too much, that's hoarding, all that other shindig, and you're entitled to that. But for me, that's how my brain works. That's how my brain works, okay? And I also grew up like that a little partially. So, I'm telling y'all this because I had some different scenarios that came into play while getting my mom out the mental hospital. Okay? So, in order to do this, even though I'm her primary health care person, they have to monitor your assets, make sure that you're not, you're on the up and up, monitor your character, your background, your things like that. So it's a lot of things that go into play. If anything looks suspicious, the case managers, which I've been a case manager before, will have to turn that in, and an investigation comes through, okay? They have to go and follow up, okay? Let me stop saying that all the time, saying that word. So the first time I tried to do this and go through this process, it was very tough for me because I did not know the process, and I was getting attacked on every end. I didn't know what paperwork I needed and everything like that. And the person, the attorney that I had didn't give me a lot of information on how to go about it. He was more dealing with getting his money and things like that, and dragging a lot of things out, which in the long term would have really messed me up a lot. So I had to go about it a different way, which I did. And so I went through the process. This also gave me time to get the information that I needed for myself so that I can go about the process, and also for them, the people that are at the institution that she's in, to see what she does on a day-to-day basis and how we really see and what we really go through. Because people can pretend for a good amount of time and they can keep up a good facade, but after a while that breaks over time. And so that family started to happen, whereas they didn't think that my mom was so super sweet, and they were able to see some of the things and some of the reactions that we would go through, some of the physical and verbal attacks that we would go through, and how to, and access and not only access, but find out alternatives, a way to deal with it, or how to prevent it from coming on. So that helped me a lot. But while they were doing that, I had to, like I said, get all my paperwork done. During that process, I also had to get my paperwork done for my jobs, because in order to make sure that she's stable and everything else, and yeah, she does do things, because even though I'm her healthcare specialist, I'm not her, I wouldn't be her person providing care for her every single day. Some people do that, and they're caregivers. They're called caregivers if they're like related to them. Sometimes the caregivers is not somebody that's related to, but they're close. I wouldn't be that person. Now, I would probably hire that person or go under a company and allow somebody to work in the home that way. Which I had started creating a business for that. So it got me to align my ducks in a row. So that's what I've been doing lately. The other thing is, I had some other things that arose in my life dealing with family and external family, that I had to open up my home during this time. So that's, and getting that transition, being by yourself versus, wait a minute, I left my dream. Dang. Being by yourself versus, having other people reside at your home is a different process. Even if it is a good one, it's a different process. And so I really didn't have time to really get on here and do a lot. Then we also had the storm. And where I'm at, we're used to the weather being cold. Actually, we're used to having the temperatures below zero. But lately, these last couple of years, they might be below zero. They usually don't get below 10 degrees, or the wind chill doesn't get below below -10. This time it did. And because we've had like the last 5 seasons very relaxed, a lot of people ended up losing power. A lot of people ended up losing hot water. A lot of institutions like Google ended up losing power, and they couldn't, do their jobs. And so people were inside. So I really didn't have enough time to get on here and chat, because I had to deal with getting my lesson plans ready, getting everybody situated around me. So I really didn't have enough time. But I do have time now, if y'all let me, okay? And so I was like, what better time? Okay. I said, what better time to do this than today? Okay. So I get on here today, and I haven't been on social media for a couple of days too. When I came back on, it was yesterday, and it was talking about the celebrities' family members. If y'all know, Interstate Glorilla, her family members was talking about she didn't help them, and they was just going in on her, like saying horrible things, and she didn't even help her mom or her dad. She bought her dad a house, but she didn't really help him, and he retired himself, and all this other stuff. And the first thing that came to my head was, well, why is she not helping them the way that she's helping them, right? And come to find out, when the sister starts telling what's happening, you could tell that she suffered a lot of abuse. She suffered tremendously from both parents, as well as her siblings. And it reminds me of that Keisha Cole, the Keisha Cole perspective. I should call that the Keisha Cole effect, because you know what? Her brother Ellis put that on the map. I love watching him. Man. But if you look at Ellis, I think he's going by Elijah now, but he said he go by both of them. But if you listen to his thing on the talk and on the tube, because he's been on everything. He's been on Tasha K. He's been on everybody's podcast. Very articulate. He's very bubbly, very enthusiastic. Has a communications degree. He goes in and he's talking about he's the youngest sibling of the famous superstar Keisha Cole, and how the family member was like, when they got the show, they was all like about dissing her. And what he talked about was, it was like, why was they dissing her? Because she was a superstar. Like, everybody has their own opportunity to do things and be great. Now, whether they stop doing it because of fear or because of something else, that's on them. Okay? But everybody has an opportunity. It depends on whether you believe in yourself. Okay? And they kept telling, well, when Elijah was talking about it, or Ellis, he goes by both names, he starts talking about it, it was almost like you could tell that the reason why, the sibling that made it because they were really diligent in what they were doing. They were consistent and diligent in what they were doing. Keisha Cole was singing all the doggone time. Okay? She was making herself available for those opportunities. Those other relatives weren't doing that. even though there were other places, and some of them they didn't know, others they did know each other, but they weren't doing that in their lives. No matter what obstacles came in, they weren't being that diligent going after what she was going after. She just ended up succeeding because she didn't give up. And because of that, everybody thought that because she had to come up, they were going to have a come up. And to give her credit, she really did give them an opportunity. But you got to think about it like this. When people are sometimes given things, they don't understand the sacrifices that are made to make things happen. And because of that, they think that they can do the same things that they used to do and get the results that you have because you're giving them the opportunities that they wouldn't have, and they haven't made any effort on themselves to make the change. Now, I'm not saying this dealing with the if there's someone who has mental issues and you're conditioning them, you're reconditioning them to learn a different response to a behavior, or to react a different way, how to rethink, or a child or adolescent child that's learning how to react. I'm talking about regular adults, okay? Regular adults. So when she gives them that opportunity, and she has to go live her life, because of course she is her, she has to do what she needs to do. And when you're dealing with not just celebrity life, anything dealing with business, you have to get right or get left behind. Not a personal thing, it's just what it is. You gotta get right or you get left behind. There's no in between, okay? And so because of their addictions and all the issues that they had, a lot of them got left behind. Now in that case, it was only a couple of them that had some other issues and some other obstacles that were a little bit different and that were told to them different, that made that story with Keyshia Cole a little bit different than with Glorilla, because one of her brothers did have talent, he did have some things, and he did have motion. So that was the exclusion. You might have one or two in your family who are like this. You'll have one person that'll break out as the person who got it, who's going to be curse breaker or holding the line lineage of your family. And because they started out in the same way, they expect that they are supposed to have the same things that you had because y'all started the same way. And it's like, yeah, we started the same way, but we didn't end the same way. I put in the work while you wasn't. So that's the difference. That's the difference. And so, a lot of tension sets up and swells up. Same thing what happened to Glorilla. If you listen to that, what was going on, they were saying all kind of stuff to humiliate that woman. Everything they put to humiliate her. And then they tried to say that, they came from a good home, and it was 1 minute it's a good home, and they were church people, and then the next second they were up roaches and rats and all kind of stuff. But they're down to her. So I'm sitting here like, okay, you can come from both, you can have both, but what was the point of this? She made it and y'all did it, and she's like, they're telling us, it's been 4 years and she hasn't helped. And I'm sitting here 4 years, like, you could have went up and blew up because of her name, just because you related to him. You could have made a podcast. You could have talked about your own thing. You could have went on out there instead of trying to bring her down and say something negative like that. You could have spoke out in your own turn and got some stuff moving. You could have got some stuff moving for you, But you will find out that people won't do that. They would rather sit there with hand and foot out, hands out, feet bare, looking for somebody to give them something, rather than to put in the work They do what they're supposed to do, what God called them to do, whatever they heard in their inner spirit to do, what they know they're supposed to do. And sometimes it's out of fear. Don't want to face backlash of people that they know. Don't want to upset people. I've been through that whole people pleasing stage. Okay? But guess what? It doesn't get you anywhere but burnt out, beaten up, feeling like you're being used. You feel like you're oppressed. You feel, taken advantage of because you're overextending yourself and using your energy for things that God didn't create you to use it for. For other people, to make other people feel comfortable instead of using it on planning and developing yourself. And you end up with situations like that, And the sister that was talking the most, she was like, yeah, I'm the one that talks, I'm the one that come out and talking, and she had been, in and out the system, which is cool, okay? It's all right. It's not knocking it, but you have to think about it. The decision that you made that made you get in that scenario, to get in the scenario where you are in regret. What are you doing to change that scenario? Okay? Are you revamping yourself? She looked like she could have been a rapper. Like a rapper. She was a stud. She looked like she could be a rapper. And she said that her sister got all her stuff from her. And I'm like, okay, why don't you just spit out some stuff? Like, put out some way, move around, Move around. There have been instances where people, family members went through this for real. And the other family members said, forget it, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to make it work. And they end up being more successful than the original person who broke out. But that didn't happen. And you know why it didn't happen? And probably, and probably it will never happen because you have to take some accountability. Huh? And believe it or not, a lot of these people don't take accountability. They don't want to take accountability. Okay? They'd rather, play the victim and play the blame game. Okay? They'd rather just play the victim or play the blame game and, have you be the person that solves the problem. You already look like you got the solution. Because your money should be my money. They was mad at her giving her money to her friends and like, oh yeah, they use you. They might be. So you mad because you not using her? And I could tell already the reason why she wasn't giving it to them. The reason why she wasn't giving it to them is because she felt like they was already dogging her and using it. You could tell by what they were saying on live. They thought it was so funny. And people would think that they getting off. Trying to put you on blast. And everything. The whole time they trying to get you to fund their career and fund their habits and fund what they have. And they get mad when you peep game and you move around. And that's exactly what happened. Now, she might have some people that's using her now, but guess what? It ain't her family. Guess what? At least she was smart enough to know. I know I can't go back here and deal with people who ain't trying to help level me up. Because if they was all on the same accord, she wouldn't even have to leave. She wouldn't have to leave. She wouldn't have to move around. But guess what? They wasn't. And when you're dealing with success, you have to have that mentality to understand that everybody is not coming with you. Okay? And a lot of people want to come with you because they feel like they obligated because they've been around you, like I said, a long time. They ain't put in no work. They ain't trying to protect you when the outside try to come and harm you. Or maybe they did a while back. But they was unreluctant to change. You know, to become better. They back there doing the same thing that they was doing. And she was like, oh, the mom, you know, she didn't help her mom. Her mom's still working. And I was like, dang, that is kind of rough. If your mama was there, you know, you do want to take care of your parents. Excuse me. But at the same time, after they said what her parents put her through, why would I want to help them? You reap what you sow. Y'all talking about y'all went to the Bible and all that. Listen, the Bible say you reap what you sow. You honor your mother and your father, but you still don't get away with the problems that you created. You know, they getting mad at her when they should be still mad at their mom. And then if you can forgive your parents, your mom and your dad, why can't you forgive your sister? Okay, why? Why? But they ain't gonna tell that part. They over there feel like they putting her on blast because they done got their little 15 minutes of fame. Everybody's gonna laugh at them. A lot of people's laughing like, dang, they putting out all that stuff. Get a little ha-ha giggles. And then guess what? They're gonna go back to their business. They're gonna go back to their life. And now you damaged your relationship with your sibling in front of all these people who didn't know all the business that you put out. What did you get out of it? She definitely ain't gonna help you now. Okay? Just know, if that was your issue, help me, blah, blah, blah. She definitely isn't gonna help you now. And why should she? Excuse me. And why should she? Because I'm telling you right now, one of my family members ever got up there and tried to put me on blast like that, I don't give a care what we go through. Because if I'm arguing with somebody in my family, I'm going to tell them what I need to say face to face. Or I'm just going to have some distance from them. I'm not going to be putting them super on blast on no platform like that and say, hey, I'm doing blunt. No. You know, that's different if we online and we going in like that. That's different. But what they did was intentional. It was intentional. And they felt like they had all the swag, all the one girl over there this, the other one talking about they clocking T doing all this, and like, okay, Eric, now you done did that for, it ain't even for the gram because you on the tube. You done did this on social media, got your little clout and everything. Now what? Because let me tell you something, real people, especially people who got motion, they already know in their head what's going on. Okay, they ain't even about nothing, you know. Because when I looked at it, I was like, oh, she made the best decision. Matter of fact, she shouldn't even. If that was me, I wouldn't even bought the dad no house. But I don't know what went on back, you know, beyond back then. I wouldn't have gave y'all nothing. Okay, and then she got the other two she got another sibling with them. So, you know, what's going on? Y'all mad at that? Y'all ain't mad at the other sibling talking about they coming to get money. They probably ain't getting no extra funds. Now, some people do have relatives that they do this stuff too, and they don't really take care of them, and they just with them at the house and they're celebrities. That's different. But you don't even know what's going on that end because she ain't keeping up with you. Because it seems like you and the rest of them got a lot of issues that she don't need. But it's not gonna be beneficial for her business, for her life. You know, being around someone of your caliber, you acting like that, being all unhinged off the end, is not beneficial for her long term. So she does have to cut ties. Yes, she does have to disassociate. Okay? If a lot of us would learn that in regular life, like dealing with everyday people, our lives would be so much better. But we want to hold on. Well, maybe little Kiki and get wrecked. Maybe little Boo Boo could choo and get right. No. I hope maybe they will get right. I hope they get right. But they're not getting right now. And right now they messing me up. I'm messing with, I'm trying to get up, so I need to distance. Okay? And that's what, you know, what I could tell what was going on. That's what I saw, what I could see, what I could tell what's going on from my viewpoint. Okay? Because they know whether you think you're getting that comfortable trying to throw me down and throw me in the dirt. Or talk about when I didn't have nothing. They talk about all the stuff that she used to do. Stuff that she used to have 10, 12, 20. Now that's 20 some years ago because she was a kid then. You know? And I'll tell you another thing. A lot of people will talk mess about you back when they had dirt on you, okay? Because you done distanced yourself so far that they don't even know you. You done leveled up so far they don't know you. Okay? I got people in my life right now, they think they just know me. No, I ain't talked to them in 10, 15 years. During this whole process when God was telling me to separate and getting myself together. These people will do this to you. They will, listen, they wait for an opportunity to shut you down. Okay? So to me, I felt like they ain't fooling nobody. She made the best decision that she needed to make. Even if she making bad decisions right now, helping some other people that they claim is taking advantage of her. If that is the case, I hope she do get help and get them away from her. But on the other hand, never turn back. Because even if you do help them and you give them what they want, just know at any time they feel like you have hurt them, anytime they feel like you've made them feel embarrassed, not by anything that you did on your own, not by you offending them or hurting them, but by you succeeding and them not putting in the work to whatever they want to do, they are going to go back and try to downplay you again. Okay? And that goes for anybody. Mother, daddy, sister, brother, cousin. I had to look at that even with my own situation with my own parents. Okay? There's certain limits that I have with people who do that, who try to humiliate you and try to put you down. You know, this is what I learned during this wake-up call. Because, some people, they was fine with her when she was in the hood with them. When she wasn't doing right, like they were saying that she wasn't doing right, oh, she was out there trying to be fancy, my mama wasn't going to have that. Was you out there looking for her? No, you was in them streets too. Was you out there trying to teach her a different way or show her a different way? No, they wasn't. Because they was okay with it. They was okay with it. It was all fine and dandy until that girl ended up getting out and making it. And that's what you have with people when you level up and you start to see people feel entitled, that jealousy, that whole Joseph mentality, Joseph Brothers mentality. Huh. Okay. And so that's what I saw when I was watching, when I got on social media. It got me to thinking about my own perspective. And my own perspective of my life and what I can see for myself. Okay? Because I thought that I was doing the wrong thing. When God was pulling me, I'm like, what is going on? I was not doing the stuff that I used to do. It was jobs that I really liked. God would tell me to leave. There was jobs that I wouldn't want to take. God would tell me to get. There were people that, helped me. And I'd be like, oh, I'm forever in debt. I'm forever grateful. Y'all, I'm sorry about that. I told y'all I got other people living in my house, so that's one of the things. Okay. And so, anywho, it started making me reflect back on my life, y'all. And when I say on my life, I began to reflect on, when I was going through my issues and I would need a helping hand. And when I say a helping hand, it would be nice if somebody financially helped me. But I knew I wasn't going to get that support. But I did always ask for, kind words. I need some pick me up some motivation. I'm reading my Bible. I'm going through the process. I'm doing what I need to do. But what happened was I ended up doing what I need to do, but on every end, I had people, especially a lot of my family members, the ones that I thought would never do that, the ones that can inspire everybody else and uplift everybody else and tell them everything's going to be okay. Just keep praying, keep going. You know, give them some encouraging words. Them same ones was, well, me and mine, well, this and that. And it broke me. It broke me, okay? It broke me, okay, to the point of like, wow, like, come on, man. Like, all I'm asking is encouraging word. I couldn't even, and I'm so glad that God muted my voice to where I didn't even tell them everything that I was going through, you know. But God allowed me to see, you know, who was really for me and who wanted to not be with me, and who was looking forward for me to not succeed. Because I had a lot of family members who just felt like I needed to fail just one time. Literally told me that in my face. And you know, the good thing is I did fail, okay? I believe it or not, in order to win, you have to fail a lot. People don't understand that. You have to look like a fool a lot. I just got better at failing to where I started succeeding. You know? And because of that, you know, I was able to stand up and not be so afraid of when things come my way. Not only that, it got me to prepare myself for when things do get tougher, and creating the groundwork or a system on how I cope with life, how I cope with challenges in my adult life. It's different when the systems are created for you as a kid versus when you're adult. Because when you get to an adult and you keep learning, you start seeing that some things are outdated for you from when your parents were going through and trying to train you, or your guardians are outdated. Some things that they were using weren't the best. You find out other alternatives. Some things you might want to increase in. And so that's why I came. It was like a system reboot. It was a system reboot. And so now things are getting a little bit better. And them same people who are saying bad things about me are the same people who God is allowing me to be of service to. And it changed my mindset. What? The 8th. It changed my mindset on how to serve, or how to deal with difficult situations where people try to make you feel like you're not going to make it, or you're not that person. Okay? Y'all, I don't even know what's going on. I just saw some of everything on my phone, and I don't know what is going on. But I'll deal with it later. But anyhow, it taught me how to deal with situations, with tough situations, about when people use you, or they say bad things about you, or they don't like you because of what God has placed inside of you. Y'all understand that we all got something placed inside of us. Oh, look at that. They over there hitting all the doggone cars with this rock salt. And how to deal with it. Okay? How to deal with it. And how not to overcome being hurt. How to overcome being angry, because you can't really help people fully if you don't heal from yourself. You cannot fully, especially people who've done you wrong. I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned. I had heartbreak coming from every situation, bro. Romantically, from a family point of view, friends, all kind of stuff. I was having heartbreak. Jobs, co-work, everything. But how to forgive, how to go past it, grow past it, learn the things that you have, and elevate. So when you do elevate and you do have an opportunity to serve, you can show God's light and what's inside of you to where when people come out and they come against you, when I'm saying people come to get you, and then God elevates you and shows you a different height or a better way to live and things like that, and they need your help, you won't be, even if you can't physically help them, you won't be carrying that bitterness and that angriness and, you know, excuse me, that resentment inside of you. You can understand this happened, it wasn't right, but I learned how to deal with it, and I'm not in control of how people judge me or respond to me or treat me, but I am responsible for how I act and how I respond to the people and the situations that are around me. And that I create the universe that surrounds me. Okay? And that set me free from a lot of things. It even gave me some enlightenment on why everybody thought, like, why is she sitting in I'm not, or this. It was just because I was doing the work. I was going in the direction that I wanted to go. You know? Say, for instance, I wanted to go to school, right? I wanted to graduate. So I applied at school and I kept studying. I went around people who did that and talked to the principal and kept going. Even if I flunked something, I'd go and do it again. You know, those kind of things. Other people, I want to do it. They might have been smarter than me, but they just didn't apply and put the work in. You know, we're creating our environment. Okay? We are creating our environments. And that's why I do agree when they say there are different universes, there are different parallels. That is true, because we all can be in the same spot and have different experiences. We all live in our different parallels. Some people don't even acknowledge that they are in charge of how their world or their environment is shaped. You know, is shaped. Okay? Or they have the power. Some people, once they find out that they do have the power to shape it, it's all hands on deck, it's going in. So, and that's good, but most don't. And let me tell you, most people never find that out. Most people never find that out, and they live day by day doing the same old things. That's why you'll see generationally, they'll do the same thing. My mom did this, I did this, I'm going to do this. Even though they know they want to do something else. I want to do this, but they told me this is all I'm going to do, so I'm going to do this. And sometimes they find out as they get older, you know? So, yeah. Yeah. And that's what I learned, y'all. So that's all I want to share with you guys. Just, things are changing. Oh yeah, I was talking about that, different parallels. Forgot about that. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this is because of what is going economically, what we are seeing on our what we are seeing on our screen. Okay, there's a lot of, and when you go through this, like dealing with somebody, especially if they're like a bully, people will try to project and manipulate things as if you're not who you are. You know, with Joseph, they was trying to, you know, downplay his gifts of seeing things and tried to make him, you know, since, you know, they saw that he was loved and, you know, he had favor on them, they tried to make him feel like he was less than, sell him off to slavery, rip his clothes up, you know, and make him feel like a vagabond and dirty him up. When in reality, they knew that he was, you know, he was very solid. He had authority and stature. Same thing with the whole the singer Keisha Cole. Okay, they want to say forget her and all this other stuff, but they wouldn't even have a show without her. They wouldn't have been able to have a spinoff show without her. You know, they talk about the mom, but in reality, if they didn't have that, you know, and we understand the mom gave birth to her and everything, but if she wouldn't have came back and opened herself to that, they wouldn't have had that spinoff show. Okay? Same way they doing to Glorilla. If she wouldn't have went off on there, they wouldn't even be having no issue. Okay? They wouldn't be able to get up there and talk. And people listen and care. Most people won't, because they like, well, you struggling like we struggling. If that was an everyday person, they want to make you feel like you didn't do the work and you not who you say you are. And it is not true. Now, if y'all look at our stuff economically and y'all see what's going on, you're seeing a lot of the markets looking as if they are not going well. They are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. When in reality, that is far from the truth, okay? And a lot of people are going to see that. That's manipulation at its finest, you know, and they do that because they won't. When people try to manipulate you into doing something or to turn it another way, it is because they don't want you to see the truth. Because if you see the truth, you got a better chance at making your life better, or to seeing the truth and making the people around you and your life better, okay? And so a lot of people are getting really shaky about this, which I don't understand why. Because I know for me, if I keep seeing stuff that looks super negative all the time, and they just pounding it on you, especially in the public sphere, and they keep pounding it on you, I'm gonna try to find out why are they telling you this. Because there's a lot of things that are not good or not attractive or not on the up and up, and they all, you know, you try to bring it to light or bring it to the public eye. And let me see, hold on, y'all. Am I crooked? Oh, he okay. That was him crooked. Okay, and you try to bring it to the public eye, and you find out, you know, even though it was true, it's hard to bring it out because there's other people that don't want it to go out, okay? Because it's either not benefiting for them, it's not benefiting for them to where they might have some penalties dealing with it, or it's not beneficial for them, like, what are they going to get out of it, okay? So if they're bringing out something that that they're telling you that's not working, why are they telling you that it's not working? Okay? Is it because if you know what it really does, that it can change the whole parameters of how you live? Is it because if you know the potency of what this thing does, and you get your hands on it, you are going to be able to be beyond successful? You're going to have generational leverage? You know, you have to ask yourself, but a lot of people are not into that. They just want to be, once again, right. A lot of people are hand to footers. Hand to footers. Feet to hand to mouth footers, okay? That's what they say. Feet to hand to mouth footers. And what that means is they only see the things that happen on surface level. That's all they want, okay? That's all they want. They don't care what it is. They're just seeing, they just taking the information as it is, what's given to them, and being fed right there, and taking it as what it is, instead of finding out why. You know, if you see the pattern of this is what happens every single time, wouldn't you want to ask why? Just why? Why are you telling me this when you could have been told me this? Or why is this coming this way? Or why all of a sudden you want to have all this commotion when, you know, we're looking at things that that really mean something? Why are you trying to take my mind off of what we were talking about to something that that's not really going to mean anything later on for my future, or for my health, for my benefit, for my family, for my lineage, for the world, okay? Why are we not focusing on things that are going to help the world that we live in? Okay? You have to ask yourself that. You know, some people not there yet. They still in la la land, la 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 land. But for the rest of us who've had our wake up call, you can't go back anymore. Because, and this is the difference. This is what draws the line for people like that. Because truth be told, that sister that was talking about Gorilla, I could tell for sure that God had already been tapping on her and telling her to do certain things, and she rejected it. She rejected her call, and you could tell that she constantly rejects her call. Constantly. Okay? And she's mad because she knows the potential. She's mad because she knows the potential. And she feels like she should have had that output, that outcome. But baby, you didn't put in the effort. You didn't follow through. You dropped the ball. Okay? You dropped the ball. Nobody else. You did it. So now you gotta live with it. And that's a lot of people's situations. Real sad, but it is true. And so, and I saw that with my own life. And don't be sad. I can tell you this. I will not be sad because God has shown me. Don't be sad for people. They had them opportunities and they decided not to do it. Instead of getting their houses prepared and their houses in order, they went to party, drink, smoke, be around people who didn't care about them, trying to impress people who could care less about them, doing everything to clear their mind and doing unnecessary stuff. Okay? All right? I don't feel bad on them. I don't wish no harm on them, but I don't feel bad for them. Okay? And it's okay to let go. Because in reality, they'll do the same thing to you or even worse. They're worse because sometimes they throw you in a pit. Okay? Joseph had compassion for them. Okay? When they came back around and God elevated him to a point where he could help them during the famine, he was able to, he was hurt about what was going on, but he still took care of his family. But he did it from a distance. Because, he knew already he couldn't do nothing else. If he got closer to him, they probably would have took him out. So I hope y'all remember that, okay? And that's something that I just learned. I had to learn. And I had to get that in my head before I ended up breaking ground to my next chapter, which I'm going into. So, that's what I want to share with y'all. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Bye.